Hey everybody, it is July 2025, Saturday. Sit back and chill. It's where I'm going to address different issues that came up with my subscribers, and I've got 4 of them to cover, but the big one is nobody is using Photoshop anymore. Really? Let's take a look at this. Are we ready? Let's do it. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to the channel, this is dedicated to photography and as a photo artist, pushing ourselves to think creatively out of the box. Now, for the new people, once a month I try to do this, and it's called Saturday Sit Back and Chill. And I try to address some of the emails that I get from the different subscribers. And I can't get to all of them, but I try to share the ones that I think are the most valuable to help other people. And if you want to address an issue with me, email address is right here at the bottom of the screen. It's stephenphotoartist@gmail.com. It's also, the link is in the show notes. Okay, so there's 4 different things I'm going to talk about, but sitting back and chilling out a little bit, grab your favorite beverage. Normally I'm drinking a red wine. Today I'm just sipping on some water. All right, I got 4 major issues. Let's jump into it. The first one is going to be thanks. The other one is about nobody uses Photoshop anymore. And then the other one is clarifying something I did a few weeks ago on the enhance feature in Photoshop. And then the very, very last one is the 4th one. And that is, if you saw my link on part 2 of close-up photography, I had a little slideshow in there of some of the images I've been working on so far. And I had a few responses as, hey, what software do you use to do the videos or slideshows, synced with music, that kind of thing. So we're going to cover all 4 of those. Are we ready? Let's start with the very first one, and that is a big thank you. So let's do it. Okay, so issue number 1 is just a quick thanks. I should do this once in a while, but I totally forget. But this is a list of some names that happened in June. I think one of them just snuck in at the end of May. But I'd like to thank those people for supporting the channel. And a special thanks to a person that I'll talk about in a minute. But if you'd like to support the channel, because this is strictly on a volunteer basis, this is not a membership at all, and that is to go to buymeacoffee.com/StephenPhotoArtist. The link will be in the show notes. You'll come to a website that looks like this. And this is where you can donate 1, 3, 5, whatever you want to do in terms of coffee. There's an extra tab right here. And if you go to the extra tab, another way of supporting the channel is taking a look at different templates and concepts that you see here. So an example, if you're interested in the oil painting template in Adobe Photoshop, or maybe this one, painting with brushes, when you click on it, there's a little promo video that helps explain what this is about. So again, I'd like to thank everybody that has been supporting the channel, because again, very small channel, but a special thanks to Gordon. Gordon, I think it's pronounced Wardner. Hopefully that's right. He's done this before, very generous on his donations. But one of the things that got me was he goes, I cannot believe what I'm learning as a 77-year-old. And I'm paraphrasing what he had said, but Gordon, you just need to know that you get me motivated, because I'm going to be turning 74 in a couple more months. And it's exciting to know that as we age, as long as we have our health and we can think in between here, that we can still actively do photography, whatever genre we're interested in, whether it's close-up photography, landscape, that kind of stuff. So really, thank you very much. One of my subscribers, I think, had mentioned a few months ago that they're 80 years old and still involved in photography and enjoying it. So I think that's great. So I want to thank everybody that's been supporting the channel by going to, again, buymeacoffee.com/StephenPhotoArtist. Okay, so let's get into the big issue, in my opinion, and that is issue number 2, and that is nobody uses Photoshop. Are we ready? Let's do it. Okay, everybody, this issue, and I'm going to vent on this, because I hate certain things that I hear out there on commercials even, and that is like, hey, everybody is buying this, and blah blah blah, and so and so doesn't like it, but there's nothing you could do about it, And I'm thinking, really, everybody's buying this. Or I see statements like this, why everybody's leaving Sony for Nikon, or why everybody's leaving Sony for Canon. I go, come on, really? I mean, to me, that is false advertising. And I know some people are going to say, yeah, it's just a figure of speech. Yeah, but it's so misleading. So when I hear things like, everybody is buying this, really? I didn't buy it, and I can go up and down the street and nobody's buying it that I know of if I ask them that. So maybe there's a lot of people buying something, like everybody's leaving Adobe Photoshop. Well, maybe a lot of people are, and we're going to take a look at this statement that came in here, so bear with me on this. But what people don't talk about is like what percentage, if you're saying everybody's buying something, well, is that globally with the billions of people out there? And instead of saying everybody, because that's a false statement in my opinion, you might say a lot of people. Well, what's a lot of people? 1%, 2% of a billion some people, there would be a lot of people buying something, but as a percentage of their overall population, it's a very small amount. So this is what happened. I've got, I just know of this person. I used to have breakfast with her once a month. This has nothing to do with photography. Let's take a look at this. This is Megan's post. I had to block it out just to protect the names, that kind of stuff. And she posted this: hey friends, anyone out there who's handy with Photoshop and willing to help me with a quick photo edit, favor for, I'm not going to mention that, should be a fast one. Just need a little creative magic. All right. So somebody, made a comment. Well, it depends how difficult it is. I'd like to give it a try, but I love Kevin's response. Oh, nobody uses Photoshop anymore. Just have AI do what you want. And of course, she comes back and says that she had already tried it and wasn't happy with it and can't handle it, whatever. And I didn't make any comments in here because to me, it's like throwing gasoline into a fire when somebody makes a comment like nobody uses Photoshop anymore. Really. So you can do your own investigation on this, but I did some research on their, stock reports, that kind of stuff. And I'm looking at this chart and says number of Creative Cloud subscribers. Now it's hard to find, what percentage of these are Photoshop users, but Photoshop is the number one program that's used by Creative Cloud subscribers. Percentage wise, I have no idea, but look at the amounts from 2013. We look at 2017. You got 12 million there, 22 million in 2021, 2025, 32.5 million. This is 2025. 2025 is not over with yet. So when somebody makes a response out there or comment like nobody uses Photoshop anymore, sorry, sir, but you are totally wrong. Okay. It's more popular now globally than ever before. Okay, even though some people are upset with Adobe on certain things or price increases and they're leaving, that's fine. Okay, you have the right to do that. But to make a blank statement like nobody uses Photoshop, come on, all right? So sorry, I'm venting on that, but this is when I see ridiculous comments like that, it's like, you have no idea what you are talking about. All right, so with that out of the way, let's take a look at issue number 3, and that is I have to make a correction and clarify something that I did weeks ago on something called whatever happened to the enhance feature in Photoshop. Are we ready? Let's do it. Okay, issue number 3, and that is the enhance feature in Photoshop. The link will be in the show notes. I'm not going to cover everything because I did this video a few weeks ago. And I need to apologize because I sort of jumped to conclusions, so I need to clarify some things. So the first thing I do is let me just open up an image. And this is the image I talked about in the past video. So I'm going to open this up. So this is a raw file right here using a Canon camera. And I purposely do this once in a while, and I need to clarify this. I was telling everybody that, I shot this at 6,000 ISO. I really didn't. It was 3,200. But I did another like 4 or 5 images at 6,000 ISO, and I just forgot, and I thought I did them all at 6,000 ISO. Now, why did I do that? Well, once in a while, I just grab my camera and I purposely will just shoot something really out of whack. In other words, it's a soft image. I don't even care about, because somebody had mentioned about getting your white balance properly in camera. Nope, not me. I purposely didn't want to do that. And then, and also I'm shooting at a high ISO. So I thought I shot this at, again, 6,000, but it was really 3,200. Bottom line is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I shot it at 1,000 ISO or 10,000 ISO. We get what's called digital noise. And the frustration a lot of people have, including me, in Adobe Photoshop, they tend to do this. And I'm going to show another little quick video I put together. They actually will add features. They will take it away. They don't tell you half the time. You have to discover it on your own. But it used to be that if I open up an image and it's raw in Photoshop, you get what they call Adobe Camera Raw, or ACR for short. And we could just right mouse click anywhere on the image, and we would get a menu, and there would be a feature in there called Enhance. And you click on it, and you get this interface that would open up. Well, if you watched that video I did a few weeks ago on Enhance, and I right mouse click, there is no Enhance feature. Okay, now this was recorded in July here, and if I right mouse click, oh, look what's here, Enhance. They brought it back. Well, did they? If I click on it, it just gives you a dialog box that says, hey, the Enhance feature has moved to the detail panel. So if you want to work with, I'm just paraphrasing here, your denoise feature, and you want to sample up your image, all that kind of stuff. So it automatically opened up the detail thing over here on the side, because they got, I guess, a lot of complaints. People were saying, what happened to Enhance? Okay, so now we have it there. And you can make your adjustments and whatever you want to do. You can follow my video. I cover some of these things in there for you. That was done, again, a few weeks ago. So again, the link will be in the show notes. It's some of the things that just drives you crazy, that Adobe will take features that you've used for a long time. It's in a certain spot, and all of a sudden they move it to a different location, or they totally modify the interface. It totally looks different, or they just get rid of it. So hang in there. I'm going to show you something that got a lot of people upset, not me personally, but they took a major feature out of this program, I think back in 21 or 22. So I'll show that in a few minutes. The other thing I want to talk about is somebody had mentioned about the importance of getting your white balance correct in camera. And I totally agree with that statement to a degree. But again, purposely, I wanted it way off, because I do this periodically so I can test different softwares, especially Adobe's. Are they making improvements on working with, a high ISO compared to, say, a few years ago? Upscaling an image the way it was maybe a year or two ago. Is it any better? That kind of stuff. So let me cancel out of this for a moment, and I'll just show you really fast. This is the finished image I did, correcting the white balance and making some adjustments. So that's just a JPEG I exported out from the raw file. But here's what I want to talk about, and that is a feature that we no longer have. If we look over here on the option bar, there's a whole category missing. And let me share that with you. And this is what bugs a lot of people if you've been using Photoshop since I have back in '97. So let's take a look at this feature. Okay, if we go to the top options bar, you will see there's a category called 3D with a whole bunch of features. Now, they found out, and I found out, most photographers would never even use this feature. And don't hold me to it, but I think it was 2021 or 2022, they totally discontinued that feature. So that's an example of we added some things and then we're taking it away. Okay, let's get back to getting it right in the camera, and that's with your color balance. And to a degree, I do agree with that, because again, if you're just like shooting raw, you could say, hey, I could care less about my color balance because I can correct that in my photo editing software like Photoshop and others. And the answer to that is yes, because when you shoot raw, it's gathering all this information. And yeah, you can adjust and change really easy and correct your color balance. The problem is it's just extra work, right? So why do that? Try to get it right in camera. What you really want to focus on is if you shoot JPEG, just a warning on this, you want to get as close as possible to getting your color balance right in camera, because your latitude of correction is very small in a JPEG. And if you're way off, it's just a bugger to try to get that to look decent. So RAW, yeah, not a problem, but you're shooting JPEG, it is. So let's take a look at something just to give an example. I think it's important that you try to get your color balance in camera, like this image right here that was shot in the studio. The color balance is correct, but when I'm doing compositing and other work, I don't know the background I'm going to use yet, and I need to match the subject to the background. And there's going to be a different color balance. So an example, if you look at her there, but I had to slightly change the color balance here to help match with the background there. How about something like this? Okay, the color balance is good right there, but when I created this image, I had to warm that up in the color balance, right? So it matches with the background. Same thing here, it's cooler, right? So I had to drop that down there to match the background, let alone this one, again, had to warm it up, and this one, again, to match it. So I think it's so important that we start with a decent color balance, and then you can manipulate it afterwards if you're shooting RAW. JPEG, boy, you want to try to nail it as close as you can because your latitude of correction, again, is very, very low. So compared to a RAW file. All right, so with that out of the way, let's get back into issue number 4. And that is, how did I create the slideshow sync to music? Are we ready? Let's do it. Okay, so this is going to be the last issue. And if you guys can do me a favor, please like the video, subscribe if you have not subscribed, hit that notification bell the next time I upload a video, you'll get notified on that. Okay, so the software I use, and there's many softwares out there, and I got good news and bad news. Good news is I love this software, and that is called ProShow Producer by Photodex. Bad news is they're out of business, they're gone. They were sold to another company, and they wanted to make it a subscription-based, and it totally failed. And you could go out there and find different softwares. And so that's why I'm not going to waste my time going through how to use this. It's just a very upscale professional software, fast, easy to use. I have never been able to find anything that comes close to this. So here's what I want to talk about quickly, and that is, I mean, we can sync music to it and do some really cool things. And I can create a MPEG-4 video. You could burn DVDs. In fact, I was having a meeting with a few people, and they say, people really use DVDs still? And the answer is yeah, especially baby boomers. But when I was doing weddings, family shoots and stuff, let me show you something really quick. And that is, there are a lot of different services out there like Bay Photo and others, and I'm sure other companies around the world that offer something like this. And this is something that's done for a family shoot right there. Hopefully this shows up okay. And in there you will see the family photo, and then there's a DVD there. And they will actually, you can design the cover. They burn the image on a DVD. The DVD is blank, and it's up to me to record the information on that DVD, and I use this software that we're looking at right here. And I'm sure there's, again, other competing softwares out there. What I also did was when I did weddings, the bride and groom didn't know this. I always gave them something like this as a thank you gift. And this cost me, I think with the DVD inside there and the sort of a hardcover book cover like this, I think totally, if I had to sell it, it would be like $50. But my cost and something like that, I think was around $25, something like that. Don't hold me to that because that was years ago. But I was getting requests, oh, could I get extra copies of the DVD because I'd like to give it to my grandmother. Or I had people say, I'd like to give a copy to our bridal party and stuff like that. So I have the ability with my printer, and again, not to promote that, but my printer, I can buy blank DVDs, really inexpensive, and it goes into this device that is designed for my printer. It holds the DVD in there, and I can actually print what I want on there with the photographs and everything, make it really nice, very inexpensive. I think my cost was like $2 total for that. And this, I don't even think it was like 50 cents. I had a whole case of these where I would just slap the DVD inside this case, and I would sell it for $10. So my cost was like around, I don't know, $2.50, something like that. And it was a nice little quick profit center. I could bang these out really, really fast. And again, grandparents that still have the DVD players. So it was just a marketing thing that I would give them the fancy one as a gift. If they wanted to get this as a bulk, I would drop the price down to $40 a head. But most of them jumped on, this with the DVD in it I was selling it for $10. So that's what I use. If you didn't see the video, by the way, I'll put the link to the part 2 where I showed the slideshow of some of the images that I've worked on the close-up photography. Not finished yet. The goal is to actually print a book at the end. Okay, everybody. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Again, this is Saturday. Sit back and chill. I try to address some issues. Please remember that in the show notes is my email address. So if you want to send me an email about something, feel free to do that. And if it's interesting that I can address this, that other people would benefit, I would showcase that on the next month, which would be August. Sit back, Saturday, sit back and chill. All right, with that out of the way, let's get that camera out. Let's literally think out of the box. Until next time, see ya.